What's up, Mike? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm rocking and rolling. I am glad to have a chance to pick your brain again on another finals match review.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I finally won a finals match that I could be here.
Right? I appreciate that you let me post the first video, even though you got to be the first person to lose on camera, and you were like, I don't care. Didn't care about looking good or bad either way. And you finally made it here. I'm glad you finally got to get your laurels here. Uh, it,
Yeah. Well, technically, I did win one, but we let RPG have the spotlight for that one.
oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we let him have it because we had just did the one with me and Geetzer before.
Got it. It's really interesting to see how players come in and out of the metagame. There was a while where Geetster was not doing very well, and now he's just dominant.
Yep. Yep. He learned how to play the game. That's what happened.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting because you're no longer playing a mirror match. I guess a couple months ago, it would have been more likely to see a mirror match, but here we've got some asymmetry. There's what is it? You've got double stamina, and he's got just one stamina. Am I thinking about that right?
Uh, I mean, if you count Dragoon's
Mm-hmm.
stamina, then
Yeah.
sure. Um, yeah, if you count Dragoon's stamina, then yeah, I have double stamina and then one attack.
And they don't play Cobalt Dragoon in this match. They choose to go for a second attacker. They choose Phoenix instead.
Yep, yep. Jared decided to go to attack. He said he's been really liking double attack recently. I guess that's just the power of Scorpio.
You know, and if the type chart isn't lying to us, and it often is, that would be the right call into your double stamina deck.
I think it's just because the other stamina is Dragoon why it matters. Because Dragoon being the left spin on Elevate, like if you light launch correctly, you don't have to worry about the attack matchup that much.
We'll come back to that because I noticed you doing that in one of these launches here. All right, so this
Yep.
is a straight up Scorpio mirror, and I think we see this again at the start of the games because I think you guys both conclude that this is the safest pick into each other's deck.
Yeah, well, I think what it mostly is Scorpio is very powerful, and we're both just trying to aim for like that early 2 to 3 points. Like I think that's exactly what both of us are thinking at this point. We're just like, I want to try to get the 2 points fast so I can try to close the game out faster with my other combos.
Got it. So you got the B side here, and he's got the X
Yeah,
side. This ends up in a stamina finish, but just a bunch of near misses,
yeah,
right?
yeah. We just kept like dodging each other for the most part, um, and then I just barely squeaked this one out if I remember correctly. This was just like the photo finish, and I barely get the little turn at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so
Yeah,
close.
for sure. And I think that on the B side, at least, having this pretty forward tilted launch is the right move. Interesting how you caught the exact
Yeah,
spot on the tornado ridge.
yeah.
That's funny.
It worked out. I mean, I mostly like I angle launch that just because I figured we're in the mirror match. I'm trying to not like flat launch and then eventually just waste all my stamina. Because if you notice, this is like one of the few times Geetzer flat launches his combo. Normally he angle launches this, but I guess he was thinking flat launch in the mirror to try to catch me off the ridge and just hit me into the pocket.
And they're both in attack mode by the end of it.
Yeah, yeah, we're both just so tall, so I guess he felt like the contact points would hit either
I
way.
mean, looking at his launch, it looks like he almost got it a couple times.
Yeah, he was
Because
close. He was
that's
close.
almost for him.
And there's one like
And that's like almost for him as well.
right like here. Yeah, right there. Yeah, he almost extraimed me twice, but I got lucky.
It's 40 grams. I think it's going to be tanky.
Yeah, yeah. That and we've come to notice that like not Sphinx, Scorpio with the one
Mhm.
ratchet, it just comes back in so much, and we think the weight is what contributes to it more than anything else.
Fascinating. We'll see some of that here. We definitely have seen it in previous weeks. All right, next, um,
Yeah,
what do we got? We got Dragoon. So I think this is the first time I actually noticed how light the light launch is.
yeah,
It's dainty.
yep,
And you get rewarded so well for it. Uh, so on paper, it's supposed to reduce the impact of the attacks. If you light
yep.
launch in the opposite spin matchup, that's one of the things I often forget to do.
Oh, I can do it in the same spin matchup too.
Hmm.
You can I light launch in same spin matchup when I'm doing stamina against attack.
Yeah, and you got I got
Like you have to launch a little harder than if it's like opposite
right.
spin when it's same spin, but when it's same spin you still light launch. It just reduces the amount of impact and the recoil that happens.
I do think that the WBO rules are a little bit off about the pulling because
Yeah.
uh, both of the Beyblades release at the same time.
Yeah.
But you have to start pulling forward sooner if you're going to light launch with a string.
I mean, 100% honest. The WBO's rule set is kind of a joke with half the stuff because if you were watching this in real time and not recording it, you would never
Right,
know.
for sure.
You would never be able to tell. So, and if you were to play in Japan, it's the same way. All they care about is as long as it looks close enough to off the go shoot. As it looks close enough to them, they're
Yeah,
fine. And that's how we need to be too when it comes to locking because it is going to be frankly it will be impossible to have two different individuals launch at exactly the same time every
right.
time.
And if there are any differences in how long it takes one person to pull over someone else, then it doesn't really matter if they are pulling at exactly the same time because their launch timing will be different. The release timing is going to be different.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Um, the release time should be what matters more than when you start pulling the ripcord because that would be strategy within the game itself where okay the Beyblades need to release at a certain time well I want to do a specific type of launch it requires me to start pulling slightly earlier because I'm pulling
Right,
slower so in order to get to the end of my ripcord I have to start pulling
right.
earlier.
The alternative would be you light launch and it looks like you're sniping people because you're just releasing so much later than people, which is the exact thing the rule is supposed to
Right,
get rid of. This was an interesting
right,
one.
but that's the thing I'm pulling early but releasing at the same time if I pulled
Right.
light but pulled at the same time as Geezer, I would release later than
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Were you expecting the over finish or just the spin finish here?
I was expecting just a spin finish. That was pure luck.
Yeah. It looks
Like
super cool
just
though.
right there, just kick it. Yeah,
You
it
just yell,
does. It
"Go
almost looks
battle
like
on,
it was
Dronzer!"
planned.
And boop.
Battle on Dronzer. That's a Dragoon Phantom Hurricane moment right
All
there.
right. So, having watched these a couple times, I think both the times we have the mirror, it goes in a sort of attack fashion, but also you're launching this the same way you'd launch an attack type on this side of the stadium.
Yes.
So you might have
Yes.
expected the same results.
So okay, this is how I launch. It wouldn't matter what side of the stadium I'm on. I'm going to generally launch this roughly the same in the mirror match. Um, I launch it at a slight angle so I can pull as hard as I can. And I'm not like, if I go back towards the ridge, it reduces the amount of times that it's going to actually catch the ridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to, kind of like the ball part of the bit is going to hit and just kind of bounce
Yeah.
away. So that's what I aim for when I do that. I want to be able to launch as hard as I can because it's a stamina mirror match. So, I need to have more rotations than my opponent. but I need to not catch the ridge and just fly out.
Yeah. And I think the problem here for Geetster is he's just closer to the holes than you are. So like, sure, the
Yep.
forward tilt here, it's gonna pull you slightly up out of the bowl right here. It pulls you slightly up out of the bowl. And if you were tilted the other way, you'd be coming down into the bowl. But he's locked on the wrong side of the stadium for like 6 consecutive hits.
Yeah.
The attack type could only dream of something like this.
Yeah. And then I just get lucky
That's
with a
called
burst.
barrage attack.
Like honestly, all of game one was just complete luck.
Oh yeah.
I felt like the entire thing. Like I barely squeak out the win with the first one with the spin finish. I barely squeak it out, and then I got the random KO, and then just the random burst.
Yeah, he pretty quickly says, "All right, flip the stadium."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, let's see if we can make it to game 3," which I kind of like that attitude. All right, so what are your thoughts here as we're shuffling?
So I'm pretty sure I ended up leading. I think I lead with Dragoon here. And I believe the reason for that is just because I'm now on the X side, and I just want to like try to use it more like an attack type. Yeah.
Well,
I just figured I can try to use it like an attack type, and so I ended up drop launching with it, which honestly I don't even know how to drop launch well. That was just kind of random. But I'm also against the Rod Ball matchup, so I know how Geetser's going to launch this. He's going to launch at a slight angle and hope that as we battle, I keep hitting him out, and he just keeps reverse X dashing, so I don't steal a lot of stamina off of him. So I have to launch it. I have to launch it hard. If I don't launch it hard, then I'm going to run out of stamina, and that he's going to keep reverse dashing and draining the amount of time it takes for him to get back to me for me to steal any bit of spin. So I just end up wasting more spin, and he'll end up winning in the outspin. So I had to launch as hard as I could here.
That's a drop launch. That's a drop launch, buddy. You just gotta tilt forward on this side with Dragoon. Elevate actually does it pretty well. So you wouldn't usually drop launch into stamina, but because you're reading Geetster, that's why the decision was made.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're gonna circle back to reading in a minute here. So you end up getting.
But I don't know.
So yes, you end up getting the spin finish here. It's
yeah.
And where does he start getting destabilized? I guess it was there. It was that hit that made him destabilized, and then he was cooked.
Yeah.
I guess the drop launch did work.
Yeah.
All right. So you get the destabilize, and it takes a minute for us to have the 2 minutes to have the resolution of the match.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So what do we have here? It looks like, all right. So I think this is one of the ones where you shift. You start.
Yeah.
You start. Is this for momentum or is this for preventing him from reading you?
This is me like counter reading Geetster, because generally what he'll end up doing is he'll launch relatively flat, because what most people will do in this situation against the attack, and I think I lose this just because this happens to me.
Yeah.
Just the amount that I just like randomly caught the ridge and just went around like 8 times. So a lot of people will try to just reverse dash because because it's a attack type. And most of the time, what Geetser will do against most players is he'll just flat launch in the center, and it'll force him to come up and around, and he'll come up right at the B side hook, and then ride the rail, so he'll catch anyone that's reverse X dashing when doing
right.
that.
Okay. But it almost seems like he wasn't. So let's see. Unless he.
No, I think he counter read me.
Did he adjust? Because he waits. We've established that he's gonna wait until he starts pulling. But this looks like either the flat or the I'm leaving my options open. But yeah, so it does seem like he throws it right up to try to catch you.
Yep. Yeah, he tried to counter read me because I counter read him on the last video and did this, and it stopped him. So that's all this one was. I think doesn't he end up getting a KO here?
I think it's a bear spin finish
Or,
just because low orb.
oh yeah.
Like,
I caught the ridge just too much on
yeah,
that.
you caught the ridge like so many times. Like there was just that one hit.
Yeah, I think I just caught it and I just continued going around and
1,
around.
2, 3,
Yeah,
4,
like I just kept
5,
skipping
6. You go 6 times already.
Yeah. Yeah, that just drained my stamina.
You still almost won. After like
close, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't burst because half the time, stamina types hit the line, they just fall apart. Okay, what's the next matchup here? Phoenix versus Scorpio. Looks like. So here, instead of you are on the bad side. You are tilted forward, and I don't like that because that does pull you more towards camera. But you also land on the shelf. Are you aiming for the shelf or the bowl?
So I'm aiming to try to do like sort of like a reverse dash to try to like ignore him. Like I've seen people be able to do this with flat Beyblades. I'm not that well at doing it with flats.
I
But
think you'd
I
have
figured
to
I'd try it and
just
I got
tilt
punished for
backwards a
it.
little bit relative to the stadium.
Probably.
It does come out. That's kind of crazy.
Yep. That's the 160 for you.
That's so random, and it's like, it's so weird that you went that way. Because usually you get hit into the line, you'd go the other way.
Yep.
This was just a little bit of silliness the whole way through.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Phoenix can. Is Phoenix doing this, or is Scorpio's own recoil doing this?
I'm not 100% sure. I do know Phoenix still hits really hard. Like you would think at that moment in time too, I'm rounder because I should not be active.
Yeah.
So I would assume it's Phoenix doing it. That puts it 2-1 at that point, and then we get into the next battle.
Yeah. So again, you're changing up whatever's going on here at the last minute, changing the positioning.
Oh yeah. Well, once again, I was trying to use this more as an attack type against him because I'm trying to get the quick points. And then when that like kind of doesn't work, I'm like, let's just try to do it. But I think that was my own mistake there.
I'm surprised that you're not still soft launching into this matchup.
Yeah, I definitely should have. But I felt like I wanted to just try to get the 2 points because I'm behind at this point, and so it kind of spooked me.
Yeah.
But luckily, like as long as like nothing stupid happens, normally you should win this matchup anyway.
Yeah, it's surprising that you didn't burst. All right, so it went 2-2. And it looks like we're doing the adjustment here again.
Yep, trying to avoid him. And I messed up a little bit, so I didn't go over as far as I normally do. But I feel like if I would have, he would have hit me when he was coming down anyway.
Yeah.
Like right there.
Yeah.
We probably would have connected.
All right. So then game 3 starts off with the Scorpio mirror again.
Yep. Yeah, both of us are thinking the same way. Just trying to get that 2 early points. And just like game 1, the very first battle.
Yeah. That was a really, oof. It was a really tilted launch.
Yep. Yeah, I really just kind of hit the ridge in like a random spot, and then it just kind of threw me there. Right
Yeah, that
there.
was kind of weird.
Just kind
It's
of
weird low rush stuff.
Yep. It was at this moment I thought it was over, to be 100% honest. I was like, oh, Gisu just needs one more KO and I'm out.
All right, so this is the light
That's the
launch.
light
Yeah.
launch. Yep.
And he ends up.
So yeah, I had to play it really safe. Yep.
The light launch keeps getting you 2 points.
It does.
It's hard to hear on the audio, but this is when Geester says, "All right, nothing stupid like the first one."
Yeah.
And looking,
Yeah, because we did the mirror
yeah,
match.
and this is again launching it like the attack type,
Yeah.
and you get attack type results. Again, you're above him, and he ends up locked on the wrong side of the stadium.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Yeah. I like I said, when it comes to the stamina mirror matches, I just kind of I do that slight angle so I can try to not catch the ridge, and I just yeet it as hard as I can. Like I'm just trying to make sure I outspin them, and if anything like cheeky happens, it happens.
Interesting. So you're not thinking about using this as an attack type.
No, never once am I thinking about using it as an attack type. I'm thinking about just keeping it to where I'm not gonna ride the rail and self extreme or self KO, so I'm just able to launch as hard as I can.
Got it.
But I mean, rod against rod, like I've said it so many times. I've had so many matches where, you know, we're in the very slow stamina mode of the game, and Roger recoils, and I next thing you know, I'm in an extreme zone. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't understand what just happened.
No, it's got great outward weight distribution, but it's got corners on it. Big sharp corners, and
Yep.
they don't always connect, but sometimes they just do. For like random big hits.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun and like the variability of X for sure.
Definitely. I mean, I've come to really enjoy X. I know a lot of people that played the older versions of the game, like Burst and Metal Fight. I know a lot of them don't really like X to the extent that they like that, but I'll be honest, X is very exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It is very different, but it's certainly exciting. It's sometimes more exciting, getting to just watch, because then you're not nervous about losing. Getting to judge some of these
Yep.
matches is really cool. Have you gotten your hands on Foxbrush or Jaggy yet?
No,
Yeah, me neither.
I haven't. I honestly decided I wasn't going to worry too much about it. It seems like it's kind of mid, probably.
Yeah.
Um, all the CX stuff just doesn't really tickle my fancy.
No.
Maybe whenever we get something that's heavy and round, that'll tickle my fancy. But
Yeah.
until then, I mean, I'm a wizard rod boy. I love that. I love that Beyblade.
It's interesting seeing variability in the wizard rod combos. It felt like 960 ball was the only option, and now I feel like we have 5 viable options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options now.
Why low orb for you?
So I've done a lot of
Mm-hmm.
testing. with when it comes to rod combos, and obviously 960 ball is very standard. Um, so when Low Orb came out, we had a guy Guzzy. He showed up to a tournament and he was running rod on 360 Low
Yeah.
Orb, and it was just dominating the mirror
Yeah.
matches. And the more I then went back, me and Geetzer started testing it at your house afterwards. We started to kind of realize that it has its pros, and 960 ball has its pros.
Yeah.
Um, the pros that I feel 360 low orb has compared to 960 ball is that it's a little more defensive because low orb is more defensive than ball
Yep.
is. And just in terms of raw stamina between the 360 and it having less surface area than ball, it just has a lot more raw stamina. So I figured I like this into like the stamina mirror matches, and I like it kind of more into the attack matchups because it can defend a little more in case I mess up a reverse dash.
Mm.
Um, so that's why I've kind of picked to go with it. The scary part is 360 because 360 is a little more prone to bursting than 960.
Yeah.
So that's the scary part. But like, if you go around like I bought like 3 different Hasbro things that come with 360s just to find tighter versions.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of what I've done. Um, and 960 ball, it's a lot. It sustains a reverse X dash a lot longer than low orb will. So that's really good as like a defensive way of playing it into attack matchups. But playing against Geetzer so much, I've realized that reverse X dashing isn't always the best way to defend against attack because if the opponent is smart, they know how to counter that move.
I think if the opponent is inexperienced, they are most likely going to be countering that move.
And that was the next thing I was going to say too. A lot of inexperienced players don't realize they're countering the move with how they're launching.
Yep. Yep.
So, um, so that's just kind of what I've come to expect with it.
No, it's definitely nice. How do you feel about particular matchups? How about Dragoon?
So it's worse in the Dragoon than 960 ball.
Oh, I thought you were running it because it was better into Dragoon. It's
Nope.
worse. Oh, interesting. But it's better into the rest of the attackers, so that's why it's good. It's better into the attackers and decent into Rod Ball.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can still like do okay into the Dragoon, but the the um the 960 ball is like if you launch it correctly, you are really good in the Dragoon.
Hmm.
But we do see a lot of attack in our area, so I kind of wanted something to kind of deal with that more. And of course, with Spear coming out, Scorpio Spear, it's like a lot of people are like, I'm gonna play the new Beyblade, and even if they're running it on a stamina like bit, like it's got the shape for attack, so it's going to like recoil and whatnot too. So I'd rather have something that's a little more defensive.
Yeah. Okay. It has been great talking to you, Mike. I will see you on Saturday at the tournament.
All right, I'll see you Saturday,
All
Mike.
right. You have a great one. Bye bye.